Good morning, guys. This morning we are going to check our homework on lesson 7.5. You'll find it on page 328 in your math book. We're going to check numbers 4 through 11 step by step. If you have any questions as we go through this, please ask. All right, here's number 4. We have a composite shape made up of a smaller prism and a larger prism. So remember, to find volume, we take area of the base times the height. So for the large prism on the bottom, this represents the length. I'm outlining it in black here. This represents the width, and the height, this line, is congruent to this line, congruent to this line, so the height is 1. So we're going to take area of the base, 6 times 2, and then multiply it to the height of 1. For the large prism, the volume is 12. For the small prism, we have area of the base times the height. So if we take a look at the small prism, we have a length of 4, a width of 2, because that line is congruent to this line here, times a height, 1 or 2 over here, which is 0.5. So 4 times 2 times a half is 4. So to find the total volume, we take 12 plus 4 is 16. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, here's number 5. This composite shape is made up of 2 shapes. We have a cylinder on the top, and we have a cube on the bottom. So let's take a look at step 1. And just for a second, take a look at your instructions. Find the volume of the composite solid. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. So volume equals area of the base times the height. And remember, B represents area of the base. So for the cylinder, we're going to find area of the base. So the formula we need is pi times radius squared. All we're doing is the B part of the formula. So B equals 3.14. The red line represents the diameter. We want the radius, which is half. So half of 4 is 2 to the second power. And if you use your calculators and do 3.14 times 2, we get 1256. So that's just the area of the base. I am not finished yet. So the formula tells me to find volume, find area of the base, and multiply it to the height. The height of this cylinder is 4 inches. So I'm going to take my area of the base, 1256, times it by 4 to get an answer of 50.24. And since we're rounding to the nearest tenth, 50.2. Any questions? Okay, let's take a look at step 2 now. Step 2 now is the rectangular prism. We want length right here. Watch the cursor. We want width right here. And height. And remember, this line is congruent to this line, which is congruent to this. So the height is 5. So we do have a cube. So we take the area of the base, 5 times 5, and times it by the height of 5, and we get 125 inches cubed. Okay? And the grand total, the total volume, we take 125 plus 50.2, and we get 175 and 2/10 inches cubed, because we add up the total volume for both shapes. Any questions, please ask. For number 6, we have 2 cones. Imagine right in the center here there was a vertex. And we're just looking at 2 very, very separate shapes. And if it helps you, turn your book around a little bit so you could actually see one of the cones this way And then you can take your book and turn it the other way so you can look at the other cone as such. And it'll make it a little easier for you to see to just look at one cone at a time. All right, so find the volume of a cone, its area of the base times the height, and then divide by 3. So we're going to look at this one here first. Okay, so I'm going to turn this back to the top this way. And remember, to find area of the base, we do pi times radius squared. We take 3.14 times 2 squared, and that gives us a solution of 1256. Please use your calculators and do the work with me. That's the B part of the formula. Now we're going to take 1256 and multiply it to the height, which is right here, 6, and then take that solution and divide it by 3. So 1256 times 3 times 6 divide 3. And if you plug that into your calculator, you get a grand total of 25.12, or to the nearest tens, 25.1. Any questions? Please ask. All right, now let's take a look at the left cylinder, which is right here. All right, do you notice I'm only looking at exactly what I need to look at? And to find volume of the other cone, same formula, area of the base times the height divided by 3. I want to find area of the base. So the diameter is 4, so my radius is 2. So 2 squared, it's just like the previous cone. Now we take area of the base times the height. The height is 8. Then we divide that by 2. Put all this in your calculator, and you get an answer of 33.5. Okay, and to find the total volume, we take both volumes and we add them up, and we get a grand total. This should be cubed, not squared. 33.5 plus 25.1 gets us 58.6 meters squared. So let me rewrite that for you. It should be cubed to the third power. Number 7, this shape is made up of a trapezoidal base. So we have a trapezoidal prism and a rectangular prism. So let's begin by taking a look at the trapezoid. All right, and to find volume, area of the base times the height. If I look at this bottom piece here that I'm outlining in green, how long is this piece? I hope you're saying 5 because this piece measures 5. So I'm just going to put 5 in here. And what is the length of this piece up here? I hope you're all saying 2. Now I need a height to this shape. How tall is it from the top to the bottom? If you take a look in the diagram, we have a height of 2. If you have your NJ Ask reference sheets available, it will tell you to find, your formula may look a little different than how I wrote it, but to find volume of a trapezoid, area of a trapezoid, sorry, you take base 1 plus base 2 and add them together. So I would add 5 plus 2 to get 7. Then I would multiply it by the height of the shape. The height is 2. So 7 times 2 is 14. And then divide by 2. So the area of just a trapezoid is 7. Any questions on how I did this, please ask. All right, the next step is to take area of the base and we times it by the height. We know the area of this base here is 7, and the height right in here, the distance from the back base and the front base is 10 units apart. Okay? This line and this line are congruent. So our total volume for this trapezoidal prism is 70 centimeters cubed. Any questions, please ask. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the rectangular prism on the bottom. Remember, formula is area of the base times the height. So we're going to do 5 times 10, then the height of 3. Okay, here's the height, which would be the same length as this line, and the line in the back corner. So we get a grand total of 150 centimeters cubed. And to find the grand total, we take the two volumes, 150 plus 70, and we get a final solution of 220 centimeters cubed. Any questions, please ask. Number 8 is a really interesting problem. We have a triangular pyramid on the top, right up here. Okay, and on the bottom, we have a triangular prism. It's a prism because it has two bases. This is a base, and this is a base. So imagine that we separate these two shapes apart. The top piece is a triangular pyramid. To find volume, we take the area of the base. Remember, the base in this case is a triangle. We're going to multiply it by the height of the entire shape, and then divide by 3 because the shape is, it meets up at one vertex and it only has one base. So here we go. Remember, area of the base of a triangle is base times height of just the triangle, and then divide by 2. All right, that's just for the B, area of the base. So here we go. The area of the base, this one, is exactly the same as this one. So it's easier to look at the bottom because it's more neatly labeled. So base is 8, height is 6, so 6 times 8 is 48. Divide by 2, we get an answer of 24. All right, that's just the area of the base. Now, to find the total volume, we take the area of the base, 24, times the height of the pyramid, which is 6, and then we're going to divide by 3. So please take your calculators. Let's do 24 times 6, divide 3, and we get an answer of 48. Are there any questions? Okay, now we're going to take a look at the triangular prism. And the formula for this is area of the base times the height. Well, we know from doing the pyramid that the area of the base is 24. Now we're going to multiply it by the height. Remember, the height for a prism measures the distance from top base to bottom base. So the height in our case is 10. 24 times 10 is 240. And the grand total for our volume is 240 plus 48 gives us 288 inches cubed. Are there any questions?